All right. Welcome to Mountains Made Low, where we help you to encounter the love of God and live well in the modern world. I'm Dennis Mueller.
And I'm Christine Reagan.
So, Advent is nearly upon us. As a matter of fact, it should be this coming Sunday. And so, Christine and I wanted to talk a little bit about what we can do to get the most out of the Advent season, because we really don't think about it much. I think oftentimes Advent has a tendency to be reduced to this is the preparation time for the big Christmas day and all of its trappings, and we get tied up with shopping and baking and card writing and all of this stuff.
It comes before Christmas, but it's an afterthought.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And if we're being honest, I think all too often there's very little, if anything, spiritual about this time that leads up to Christmas. And instead, we kind of get all caught up in the hustle and bustle of the holiday season.
It's really the only time that you hear the phrase hustle and bustle.
This is true.
It's heavily used this time of year.
Yeah.
No one talks about 4th of July. Oh man, there's a lot of hustle and bustle going on. No one says that. So.
I'm all tied up with this hustle and bustle getting ready for Easter. Right. Yeah, it doesn't work. It's funny how we use that hustle and bustle of the holidays.
Yeah, it's kind of cliche, but we feel it deep in us.
You do.
It's like,
you do. It's a stressful time because we're focusing on more of the material things.
Yeah, like the secular demands.
Yeah. And just to kind of drive home the point of how secular Christmas has really become, my family and I, over the summer, we vacationed down the shore and we stopped at a Christmas shop down the beach. And in the entire store, I could only find two things with Jesus on it. One was this chintzy ornament of the Holy Family. It looked like it just came right off the boat. It was poorly painted, everything, poorly molded. It was just horrible. And,
you touch it, it disintegrates.
Right. And the other one was just this silhouette of Jesus in the manger. It's just like this real thin wooden ornament where you can see where it was the manger, and like there's somebody kneeling on one side and somebody kneeling on the other side, presumably Joseph and Mary.
Maybe it's Jesus, maybe it's not.
Maybe,
but we're not going to tell you.
We're not going to tell you because it's a silhouette.
Imagination run.
But not even a single nativity set was in the store. I think it's typical. I'm not surprised at all. I mean, when you go to these stores, it's all more secular type stuff. It's ornaments that have your favorite football team on them and your favorite hobbies. And then you have all of this Tim Burton stuff, which is a little crazy. The Tim Burton ornaments.
The Nightmare Before Christmas?
The Nightmare Before Christmas. Yeah, like all of his stuff. There's so much Halloween tied in with Christmas.
I was going to say, I didn't think that was Christmas oriented. Is that a Halloween movie or is it Christmas?
Well, it's a little bit of both. It kind of walks the line there. But yeah, it's just disturbing.
It's not for me. Tim Burton movies. It's a joke in my family. If Tim Burton has made a movie, I should not see it. Because it's that kind of fanciful, that Willy Wonka one that he made.
Oh, yeah,
that's the stuff of nightmares.
Yeah.
That's, no thank you.
I'm not a fan
It's
either.
not my aesthetic.
Even just look at your lawn decorations. Next couple of weeks, just take a tour around your neighborhood, and we've got blown up characters. We got snowmen, we got trees, we got lights galore. But how many manger scenes can you count in your neighborhood?
Yeah,
it's slim pickings.
It's fewer and fewer. You're right. Christmas has become very secularized, and therefore Advent's going to be the same way, even if the culture itself doesn't really recognize Advent so much. But I think the most well-intentioned and devout among us can really succumb to that too, just because we're around it so much.
Yeah.
And so we kind of fall prey to it as well.
Every year I'm buying new lights.
Are you buying new? Well, that's because the old lights don't work from year to year.
Yeah,
I don't think they're engineered to withstand.
They work when I put them
seasons.
away in the box, and then I take them out, and I'm replacing like half of them. I don't know what happens to little gremlins in the garage. I don't know what's going on there. But today, Christine and I will help you break the cycle and enter into the spirituality that the season of Advent really calls us to.
Yeah, we have some ideas and suggestions on how to observe it in a way that really can enter your heart and your mind so you can really keep Christ in Christmas and then prepare our hearts to welcome him with more love this year than maybe ever before.
That's the hope. That's the goal. But the first thing first is I think we need to maybe define what Advent.
So Advent is the season that anticipates the coming of Christ. It's a time for us to really prepare well for the celebration of Jesus's arrival and his birth. So the word Advent is derived from the Latin word for coming, for arrival, for approach. I don't know about you, but when I think about approaching, the image I have in my head is somebody kind of incrementally making their way to go knock on a door. And during the weeks of Advent, that's what Jesus is doing. Jesus is incrementally approaching us. He's making his way, and then he arrives anew every year. And so to really, really be able to take that in and to what?
I'm sorry.
What?
I just had this image of Monty Python the night when they're charging. They just keep running, and you just see them like they're waiting for him, and he's just running and he's running and he's running and he's not getting any closer. I'm sorry. I don't know
Is
why
that the one where he's doing like where he makes the sound with the no?
I don't know.
It's been a really long time since I've seen.
It's. I'm
Monty
sorry.
Python.
I derailed, but
Yeah, definitely in the spirit of Advent.
yeah. I don't know why that popped
This
into
is
my head, but
helpful.
it just caused me to chuckle. But it wasn't anything
I
you
picture
said.
somebody not in a creepy way, but just getting closer and closer and closer. I think to be able to take in this, forget what Dennis just said, it wasn't helpful. To really take it in and to take it to heart and to have it be part of the transformation that is supposed to take place here in this life, we should incrementally take the steps to be able to welcome him. And the church helps us do that by structuring Advent in the 4 weeks that it is.
Advent's been around for a while.
It's super ancient. It's been around since at least the 5th century in this formalized way. Thinking about how ancient it is, go back in the ancient world, go back to the Old Testament. How long did the world wait for Jesus? All of the Hebrew scriptures, it's this preparation, it's this anticipation for God made man, for the incarnation. God was preparing us for the Savior of the world gradually. Through all of history, Jesus was incrementally getting closer and closer to the door of our world. And then he comes to us like the Gospels of Matthew and Luke tell us.
It's like Paul said, it's a marathon. It's not a race. It's slow going. It's a gradual unfolding.
And however God chooses to act, that's the best course of action.
Yeah.
Because I've heard people say, gosh, why did that take so long? Why do my circumstances right now feel like they're taking so long? Why does everything have to be so gradual? If that's how God is choosing to create, to bring about redemption and everything that comes after that,
It's the best option
the
available.
best thing for us. So let's lean into this gradual way of things. And then we have to answer a question. When Christmas comes, are we going to be ready to answer the door and welcome Jesus into our homes? Can we really welcome him into our hearts? I don't know about you, but the idea of a knock at the door when I'm not ready is one of the most dreaded sounds in the world.
Like,
to
who's
me.
that?
I am panic cleaning. I am not ready. I'm furious that you thought it was okay to show up early or not check with me to make sure I was ready. I feel like I go through something very similar at Christmas time too. I'm usually not ready, and that's because historically I haven't prepared well. And then it's Christmas, and it's like, shoot, it's here, and there's nothing I can really do about it. So I can't say that I can't say I observe Advent well, and I can't say that I enter into Christmas the way that.
No, I understand that. I don't think you're alone either.
No.
Yeah.
But what is Christmas? Christmas is such a highly spiritual time, and so is Advent. And so if we want to receive the most, if we want to be filled up the most this Christmas, then let's plan now, let's prepare well for the God who will soon be making his way up the path, and he's going to knock at the door.
And you have to remember, like, Christmas is a season, not a day. I love those people. They spend all of this time, weeks and weeks, getting ready for Christmas, and then the day after, their tree's on the curb. It's all over, and they're on to the next thing.
That hurts my soul.
Yeah. So again, we just get kind of caught up into the secularization of the holidays that we're missing the true joy and the meaning of what it is that we're celebrating.
Yeah.
It's not about giving gifts. It's not about traveling. It's not about eating good foods and all these baked goods. It's about the God who loved us. It's about our salvation.
Yeah. And anything we do after that flows from the salvation that we received. What's come to the world, the gift that has come to the world. Jesus really is coming. He came in historical time and then forever changed human history with this rescue mission that he's on. And that's one of his comings that we can focus on in Advent. So he comes in the past. There's 3, and Dennis loves to talk about this. I'm going to talk about it today, just to spare all of you. But he comes to us in historical time. That's this past context of, yes, at a particular point in human history, the world was changed and Christ came. That's one element of this coming.
The historical Jesus.
And then he comes to us in the present moment, in the here and now. This present context is one that we don't want to miss. He comes to us in the mystery of the church. He comes to us here and now in the mystery of her sacraments. We're called to be Christ to others and to show Christ forth to other people so that he can be present to them as well. And then we can know him more deeply as we carry out the ministry that we're called to carry out as Christians. So he's continually coming to us and is with us every moment of every day. So that's the present context of his coming. Then this third coming that we always look forward to is what's often called the second coming of Christ.
We always look forward to that.
Well,
right?
in our Christian faith, we're always looking forward to it.
We're looking forward to it, but I don't know, man. Like the gospel.
It's always like
maybe when the church throws it in our face, but I don't know that we're
you don't
thinking about that
you don't
every
think
day.
about the end of time.
Well, you and I aren't normal when it comes to this type of stuff. We live it,
I
we
hear
breathe
that.
it, right? So I think, if I'm being honest, I think we have a little bit more mindfulness to it than I would say the average person. People
Okay.
that I know,
They're not thinking about the end of
they
the world.
ain't thinking about
My
the end of
goodness.
man. They're just trying to think about getting through the next hour sometimes, let alone the end of the world.
Yeah.
This is one of the reasons why the church gives us this season, because we can have this opportunity to enter into the mystery of the incarnation and talk about not just the mystery of him becoming God man, as an infant, but how he becomes incarnational in our life today.
Yeah.
Through that person who's sitting across from us, who's ministering to us in some way and loving us in some way, through the sacraments, through our prayer. Jesus is constantly coming to us in a myriad of ways throughout our day, and his second coming too. He's coming again in glory, but all these comings are to draw us to him.
Right. And the second coming is really the culmination of all of this, too.
yeah.
We look to the past, that we live in the present, and we look forward to, we say in the church, Christ has died, Christ is risen, Christ will come again.
Yeah.
We're looking forward to the time.
But we don't say that anymore.
Well, we did. Prior to 2011, we said that a lot. But it's still kind of a prayer because I grew up with it.
Yeah.
It's still a prayer that I think about. So we're looking forward to this time when everything will be perfected, when this battle against sin and death will be over, and we will rejoice in the kingdom of heaven where there will be no end. We're still fighting the good fight, and Christ is ever present with us and leading us as we do that. But a time will come when he's going to draw everything and everyone to himself, and we always live in that hope. And so these three comings of Christ that we're called to reflect on in the church, that alone might be enough to change your Advent. Maybe you really never heard about those three comings.
Yeah,
and you're going
meditate
to
on
be
them.
able to take that into prayer. You're going to sit in the Adoration Chapel. I think about that hymn, Joy to the World. Joy to the world, the Lord is come. Let earth receive her King. That hymn is relevant yesterday, today, and tomorrow. The earth received the real King in the first century, AD. The King is present with us now, and he's going to come again in glory. And you were just talking about the joy of Christmas time.
Right.
I mean, that's what we want to be different this year. It's a season of joy, and God wants us to feel that joy.
It's like Jesus says, let my joy be in you, that your joy may be complete.
Yeah.
This is really what we want to focus on Advent. The joy is not coming from the gift exchange, from getting together with families. There's a joy and a happiness to that.
It's from the King that
But
the
it's
world is
flowing.
receiving.
The whole reason why we're getting together is because of Christ Jesus. The whole reason why we're exchanging gifts is because of Christ Jesus. And that's sometimes we can lose sight of that. So what we wanted to do is we want to just talk about some of the church traditions that we can go to during the season of Advent to help us to really make the most of the season and to immerse ourselves into this mystery. One of the things that we can do is to celebrate the saints of the season. This
And it
is really
starts
cool.
with-
Oh my gosh. I mean, there's so many different saints, and it starts with your patron saint, your favorite
family
saint, your
saint.
family saint.
My wedding anniversary,
Yeah.
Andrew's big time in the Reagan household.
So the very first saint that we jump into is St. Andrew, the apostle, brother of St. Peter, and that feast day is on November the 30th. One of the things that you can do to really celebrate the feast of St. Andrew is to do, or pray, I should say, the Christmas anticipation prayer.
Yeah, it begins on
It
that day.
It begins on the feast of St. Andrew, and
But literally has nothing else to do with St. Andrew. It
no,
really
it
doesn't.
just starts on that day.
I think people think it's dedicated to St. Andrew, and then they read the prayer, and they're like,
Yeah.
he's not in this.
He's not even mentioned.
It's just because Advent begins on the Sunday closest to the Feast of St. Andrew.
Right. It's just a simple prayer.
It's a beautiful prayer.
It's a
Could you say
beautiful prayer.
it?
Yeah. Hail and blessed be the hour and the moment in which the Son of God was born of the most pure Virgin Mary at midnight in Bethlehem in the piercing cold. At that hour, vouchsafe, O my God, to hear my prayers and answer my intercessions.
Through the merits of our Savior
Merits of our Savior, Jesus Christ,
and His Blessed Mother.
and his blessed mother.
Amen. It's a beautiful prayer.
is a beautiful
I love the stillness, right? You get at midnight in Bethlehem in the piercing cold.
Yeah. And again, it's a short prayer. I mean, it took 15 seconds to say it. You say it 15 times a day. The other feast day that we can jump into is the Feast of St. Nicholas. And this is great if you have little kids at home. If you have little children at home, or even not so little children at home, leaving candy in the children's shoes the night before the Feast of St. Nicholas is a long-standing tradition. Probably came from Germany. Everything kind of comes
So
from
many
Germany.
of these
Yeah.
are Germanic.
comes
yeah.
from Germany. If you really want to get tied into St. Nicholas, leave the little chocolate gold coins in the shoes. because that's reminiscent of the story of St. Nicholas, the real St. Nicholas, who gave gold coins to pay for the dowries of some women so that they could get married. And this story was, their father didn't have a dowry. He wasn't able to marry off his daughters. And so St. Nicholas came by and gold coins in the stocking through the window. If you want to celebrate the feast of St. Nicholas in that spirit of charity and that spirit of giving, create a care package for a homeless person. Put together a blanket, socks, toiletries, maybe some t-shirts, underwear, all those things, and just that care package, put it all in a nice little backpack maybe, and then you see that person, boom, here you go, Merry Christmas. That's in the spirit of St. Nicholas, who was giving of what he had to help those who were in need. Another great feast day, holy day, is the Immaculate Conception, which we know is December 8th. And regardless of whether or not it's a holiday, that's a pet peeve here for me, especially here with the United States. It's not a holy day if it falls on a
Sunday
Saturday or a Monday. Well, Sunday's always a holy day.
Right, but I'm saying if it were to fall on the Sunday, it would get pushed to the Monday, and then the Monday wouldn't be a holy day of obligation.
Yeah. And then the square root of 4 is 2. It's just ridiculous. I don't know how they do the math to come up with this stuff, but it's ridiculous.
You know what? I think it's more relevant in parts of the world where you have to travel a long distance for worship. That would make more sense to me. Right. Can I really travel that distance Sunday and Monday? Yeah. Maybe that's not doable. But I think in those countries, they're doing 2 days in a row of worship.
Probably.
They're keeping the holy days. We're speaking out of turn. I don't really know that. Dennis is annoyed.
Yeah, it just was one of my many pet peeves. But regardless of whether or not it's a holiday, get to Mass, praise God for the gift of Mary, and especially for her fiat, that great yes, that beautiful prayer that she gives us.
Yeah, everything you might think, well, it's not Christmas. It's about Mary's conception. It's not really about Jesus. Well, anything that happens to Mary is about the future merits of her son's passion, death, resurrection. And he has to be born to be able to do that. So we can certainly meditate.
She's pretty key.
Yeah.
So, which is why her feast day falls during this time. So if you can get to Mass, if not, maybe say a rosary that day. Again, just simple things that you can do to draw attention to this beautiful feast day and holy day that takes place during this season of Advent. So two more. Lady of Guadalupe on December 12th is another great one. We can pray the rosary and meditate on the mysteries of Christ's life because, again, what are we preparing for Christmas? And then maybe go a little Mexican for lunch or dinner, to celebrate the Feast of Our Lady of
Guadalupe. I actually looked up to see
that?
what day of the week it is this year, and I was like, if it's a Tuesday, that'd be great, but it's a Thursday.
Why is Tuesday better?
Well, Taco Tuesday.
Oh, Taco Tuesday. I got you. But yeah, so think about that. Mexican for lunch or dinner. A little celebration there. And then the last one would be...
Someone's going to write in and say tacos are not authentically Mexican. I'm sure I've insulted somebody.
The Feast of St. Lucy, which is December the 13th. For those of you who don't know St. Lucy, she was martyred as a young girl because she wanted to remain a virgin for love of Jesus. And she was being forced to marry someone by her family. So one of these traditions, and this is actually a Swedish tradition, but a Swedish tradition has you bake saffron biscuits, not
saffron's
scones.
So expensive.
Yeah, I know, but saffron biscuits. But you can use other sweet rolls or sweet bread instead. Deliver food for the homeless. If you have your Christmas tree up, don't light it until the Feast of St. Lucy. That gives you 11 days before Christmas. And it's a nice reminder that the true light of the world is drawing near. So there's other feast days and holy days. Well, not holy days, but there's other saints celebrations that take place. But these are the big ones. These are the big ones. But then there's some other traditions, too, that are very, very popular. Advent wreath is one.
Yeah, I think one of the reasons that we feel so Christmassy in this season is because of all the lights and the seasonal visuals around us. So if we really want to commit to Advent and the season that it is, I think we should just see more signs of Advent around us and incorporate them into our homes. And I think the Advent wreath is the easiest way to do that. When you come to worship on Sundays in Advent, you see the Advent wreath and it's lit. And then I think having the Advent wreath in your home is like bringing a little bit of the liturgy home with you. The wreath itself is in this circular shape and it's typically made of evergreens. There's a lot of modern ones out there. That's fine too. The circle is this great symbol that God has no beginning or ending. His love for you is everlasting and eternal. It has no beginning or ending.
Yeah.
And then the evergreens, they never dull. And so the color itself never goes away. And it's another reminder of that unconditional love that God has for us.
Those are great things because I don't think as a family that we pick up on those symbols. Like, oh, this is the Advent wreath and we just light candles. right? One for each week. But the symbolism behind it, I think that's
The
so
candles
important.
are in something. You have to put them on the wreath.
Right, right. But I think it's so important for families to make that connection with, why is it circular? Why is it evergreen? Because again, it's all tied in with God's love.
You mentioned the candles. The wreath has the candles on it, and then they're lit each week as Advent passes. And then that's meant to help us remember that Jesus is the light in our darkness, in our sinful lives, and in our sinful world. He is the light of the world. And then we're supposed to do something from that. We're supposed to be the ray of light in the world as we model Christ for others. I mean, there's a lot more we could talk about. The colors of the candles themselves are meaningful. It has 3 purple candles, and then there's 1 pink one. Purple is the primary liturgical color of Advent, and it's meant to signify penance and preparation and sacrifice. But it's also been pointed out that purple is a royal color as well.
That's right.
And there's a lot to reflect on there. Christ being king, and then we share in the mission of the king. And then we have that 1 pink candle, which is lit on that 3rd Sunday of Advent, and it's called Gaudete Sunday, and it marks that halfway point of the season, and it's meant to be a particularly joyful occasion. Christmas is almost here, and so we're extra happy about it. And Gaudete itself means rejoice. I remember I had a friend long ago. She had a Gaudete Sunday brunch. It's the only time I think that I've really celebrated Gaudete Sunday. Because again, she did this thing, and then she invited all of us, and it was this, beautiful food, and we were encouraged to wear pink. I don't know that we did, but it helped the day stand out from all the other.
Yeah, that's cool.
I just think once you realize how massively symbolic the Advent wreath is, along with the ritual of lighting it in this incremental way, it can be really helpful in having Advent be as transformative as it can be.
Do you use a Christ candle in your Advent wreath?
So I've never had an Advent wreath before in my home. This is
Ooh.
the first year
And you
that
call
I
yourself
purchased
Catholic.
one. I know. This podcast is changing my life. It's making me be better. But I really did order an actual Advent wreath this year. I don't feel as though the Christmas candle. So I ordered 4 candles that were flameless because I'm not going to have real flame in my home. But no, I don't find that the Christmas candle is necessary. Let Christmas be its own thing. The tree does that. The manger scene does that. I know that families have the center one.
I was just curious.
And it's white. Do you have an Advent wreath?
We do, yeah.
You do?
Yeah,
Oh.
we do. Yeah,
Okay.
we've always had one because we're...
Pin a rose on your nose. All right. Pin a Gaudete Sunday on your nose. I don't know. Again, the color is not pink. It's rose, correct?
Well, that's what priests want you to know.
That's
what they
What
want.
did you learn in your diaconate formation? What did they say?
Oh, it's rose. They kind of hammered it in. It's rose. It's not pink. I'm like,
Fine.
call it what you want. It's pink, buddy. But yeah, the Advent wreath is a really good one. There's another one too that people might not be, or that people will probably be less familiar with, and that's the Jesse tree. And for those of you who aren't aware of the Jesse tree, this is a great family activity, but you don't need to have a family. I mean, you can just do it as a couple or just do it as an individual as well. But the Jesse tree is named for King David's father, who was Jesse. And what we do is we trace that entire lineage from Jesse all throughout salvation history, all the way up to the birth of Jesus. And the tradition involves hanging on, like, you could just get like maybe
Like a Charlie Brown Christmas tree.
something like that. Or if you just, like, there's a bare branch outside, you just pluck that out and just put it in a little bit of a planter. Not a little bit of a planter, just put it in a planter. And then what you do is every day you hang an ornament on there. There's 25 ornaments, and each one is a symbol, one for each day. It starts December 1st. And it tells the story of God's plans for redemption from creation all the way up to Christ's birth. It can create a nice sense of anticipation because, especially with children, because somebody gets to hang the ornament and then maybe somebody gets to read the story associated with the ornament, and then family can kind of talk about it a little bit. It creates a nice mindfulness every day, just like the novena to St. Andrew and lighting the Advent wreath every night for dinner. It just creates a mindfulness that we're preparing for something here. Mm-hmm. There's something more going on here than our naughty and nice lists, our Christmas list, and making sure that we have everything for the holiday ingredients that we need to get our baking done. And the beauty of the Jesse tree is that we really come to see the whole story of salvation. It's the great why of Jesus' birth and the real message of Christmas that comes to life.
This is a lot. Oh my gosh, I didn't realize how much we were offering today. Then you could do an Advent calendar. The Advent calendar is another tradition that you can practice and incorporate into your Advent observance. They aren't called Advent calendars so much anymore. They're more called holiday calendars. A calendar that marks the days leading up to Christmas Day is, in fact, the season of Advent. It's an Advent calendar.
I think it's taken from the Advent calendar.
Oh, yeah.
But that's one of the instances where it's been secularized.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
But I'm saying
Because, like, if I have something,
it's the days leading up to Christmas.
I know, but if I have, like, a little minion Christmas calendar where I'm opening up something
right.
every day.
But I'm saying have your minions, but call it an Advent calendar. Don't call it a holiday calendar.
Well, it's not giving me anything Advent related. There's nothing spiritual
But it's marking the days that are leading up to Christmas. And if we're doing anything in preparation for Christmas, is that not... I'm saying the significance is it's the time of Advent. I was in Aldi yesterday and I saw a Pokemon Advent calendar. I saw a Lego Advent calendar, but they were all called holiday calendar. And I just think it's another opportunity for them to remove the spiritual significance of it.
I agree with that 100%.
Because even if you're just minimally calling it an Advent calendar, even if it has a more playful, secular appearance to it, I'm all fine with that.
Okay.
But if we still call it what it is, I think you still need to have all the secular Christmas celebrations. Still call it Christmas. What am I doing? I'm observing this particular feast, and I might be doing it in a more secular way, but it's still Christmas. It doesn't cease to be Christmas. It doesn't cease to be the season of Advent. You got something to say? Go ahead.
No, I don't.
All right.
No, I was just thinking. Well, you can do your loose morals, and I'll just be the hardliner.
My loose morals. I'm the one demanding that we call it Advent, even if it's got like Pikachu on it. Still call it Advent, because the minute we lose it and it's just hot.
I knew that.
This Advent calendar. This is another thing that originated in Germany, like so many of the other Christmas traditions. German families would with chalk. They would mark their doors and walls with tally marks to count the days leading up to Christmas. So that's
German efficiency.
Yeah, right. You're loving it, I can tell. And then in the 1920s, still in Germany, there was a man named Gerhard Lang who invented like the cardboard version, where you have the little door that you peel back, and it would have a scripture or a devotional written behind that,
like a real Advent calendar.
And then eventually, when it came to America in the late 50s, it was the Cadbury Chocolate Company that put the little candies behind the doors, and then the rest is history.
Right. From candy, we went right into Pikachu and
that's
minions.
You know, I can see how the ones with a really religious purpose would be very helpful in preparing on a daily basis for Christmas Day and the season that's to come. I'm okay with things being more secular, but I still don't want to lose the identification of what it is. And I think that because when that goes, what's left?
Yeah.
Because if we're still calling it that, then maybe we can get back to it, right? Oh, this is an Advent calendar. Maybe it should be more devotional. Maybe I don't even care if Pikachu is reading you the Gospel of Luke. I don't care.
Yeah.
But give me something. Give me something.
Right.
I still think that it's a cute way to help kids stay engaged. I mean, they tend to be very impatient all throughout December. So it's another way to help them with that as they get to do something special each and every day.
Yeah, I think a lot of the things, either from who gets to light the candle to who gets to open up the Advent calendar to who gets to put the ornament on the Jesse tree, it buys into that anticipation that's already there within the child.
Right.
You know, and within us too.
Here's a critique I have though. I'm concerned that just like Christmas is like, oh, well, Christmas, it's for children. I worry that Advent, because it's full of these more gimmicky things.
Right.
I'm worried that Advent is also like, oh, well, that's something that, like the Advent angel and the things that we did in grade school and stuff. I worry that people see it as being something childlike only. I don't know, what are your thoughts?
I agree with you wholeheartedly. I think that's the whole reason why we're getting into this topic. But I think there is a danger there. And that's why I said this is something that adults can do too to create that anticipation. I think you're going to find if you have children, they're going to eagerly buy into it and they're going to hold you to task. Right. Because once they're in, that's it. Especially with routines with them, because they like those routines and they like traditions. Very, very important for us. Sometimes we can put our traditions on the back burner if something else is conflicting. We're like, we're not going to pray today, or we're not going to do this today. We'll just do it tomorrow.
Yeah.
But there is a mindfulness that we want to enter into in the Advent season, and whether it's a Jesse tree or an Advent calendar or Advent wreath, they can help somebody who is single as much as they can help a family of six in helping them to focus every day on what this season's really, really about. The other thing too, just to kind of, as we wrap things up, is prayer. I think prayer has to be an important part. We need to go beyond doing stuff at Christmas and make time for prayer so that we can allow our hearts and our minds to truly enter into the mystery of what is about to unfold at Christmas. You can look up all of this stuff online. There's wonderful things that are available. And whenever you do a search for anything along these lines, I would always put in what you're looking for and then add the word Catholic to it so you're directed towards Catholic sites. Because some sites out there can be a little wonky, especially with the format of their prayers. But take a look
Yeah,
at...
if your prayer is to the goddess of the winter solstice,
Right.
I would search
Red
again.
flag, red
I'd search
flag.
again.
But look for a blessing of the Christmas tree. There's wonderful blessings, and bless the Christmas tree on Christmas Eve night before the kids go off to bed. Have a blessing of the Christmas tree.
We do it as we decorate.
And that's a
one of the
nice
things
thing
that
to
we
do too, yeah. And you can do those blessings. Like, you don't need a priest to come by your house to do a
No.
blessing. There's many blessings that people, ordinary people, lay people, can do by virtue of our baptismal priesthood.
Yeah, remember when Jesus says, when two or three are gathered in my name? It's not when the priest comes to your door to lead you
Right, in
in
prayer.
prayer all the time.
Right.
That would be nice, but we can do this as a family.
But we have the blessing of the Christmas tree. There's also a blessing of the manger and nativity that you can do every single year.
You know what's nice? Some churches have the tradition. Oh, we should do this here this year. We got to talk about it. You bring.
Bless the baby Jesus.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do we do it?
No.
That would be a nice thing to do.
But there's the O antiphons too, which are part of evening prayer and that start around December 17th through the 23rd. They're all coming from the Psalms. Their repeated use with that imperative, come, 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 that embodies the longing for the divine Messiah that we all have in our hearts. And then as a final wrap up for prayer, get to confession. I mean, if we're really truly preparing for Jesus coming into our hearts now, man, clean up this house. Don't worry about what your friends coming over and having to tidy up there. If I'm spending all this
Yeah.
energy cleaning my house for the guests that
Vacuum
are
your
coming over,
soul.
yeah, seriously, vacuum your soul. Put that through the dishwasher. We're even thinking about his second coming and preparing for that. Right. So confession, make confession a part of the holiday season. Again, you got 4 weeks to get it in. Any personal traditions for you?
So we do the blessing of the Christmas tree. We do it when we're decorating the tree. So kind of once it's all done, and we're going to put the star on top. One of my kids gets kind of lifted into the air, and they get to do it. And so then we do the blessing there, incorporate some holy water into it, which is really cool. We're starting new things. I mean, the Advent wreath is something new that we're starting this year. I'm excited about that. And it's going to sit right in the center of the kitchen table. So that'll be enjoyable. I can't say that I've historically observed Advent well. And for the past several years, we've been trying to celebrate the time of year that it is with having children. So Sean and I may have done things as a couple, but now that we have kids, we're very much wrapped up in that.
Yeah.
It's the perfect time to start to put a pause and think, well, what are we really translating to our kids about this season? Yeah, I'm sure you've been at this a little bit longer.
Well, I'll give you another
so-
one that we've done for years and years and years, and since my kids were little. And we have like a little bit of a larger manger where Jesus that sits in that is probably maybe about 8 inches or so. It's bigger. But we put the manger out on the dining room table. And then our goal as a family is to fill the manger with hay. And so you can use real hay, or if you have, what is that?
Where are you getting the hay from?
Raffia, the raffia, or whatever was it called? The strips of paper that are crinkly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know
Sure.
what that's called. I'm not an arts and crafts guy. But that, we'll use that, or sometimes we've used hay. And for every good deed that we do throughout the day, every act of kindness, we take one at the end of the day and we put it
Oh,
in
so
the
you
manger.
have a bowl of this ready
Yeah,
to go.
it's
and
ready.
then okay.
Yeah, so we have it somewhere, and somebody will come in and get it. And when the kids were little, they were very good about it.
That's really- I
taking
really
it and
like
fill it in. And now, a week will go by, and there's a couple of things in there. I'm like, hey, are we doing this or what? And then somebody will come by, and they'll just grab a handful or fistful, and just put it in. Yeah, I did a lot this week, right? And just put it in. So it's not as because again, everybody's busier now, and that's where you got to get back to the mindfulness of things. But it's a great thing that we do daily.
So here's what I
basis.
want to know though: how often did it just all end up on the floor?
It doesn't. It's sitting in a manger.
I know.
It's sitting in a little. It's not straw. We use that. That other stuff.
Okay, I don't care what it is. Everything finds its way onto the floor. So
Maybe in your
what you've
house.
given is just you've given me a job to do.
Yeah, no. It's
cleaning
right
it
on the
up.
dining room table. Nobody's playing with it. They're just putting it right there. It's no
I'm
big
sorry.
deal.
Are your kids never on the table? Our kids are just everywhere.
They're at the table. They're not on the table.
Oh no, our kids are sometimes on the table.
There's a little bit of a difference there. We do an advent calendar. A very good dear priest friend of mine, when I was working for him down in South Philly, Monsignor Bill Kaufman, we had gone out right before the holiday season to pick up some stuff for church at the St. Jude shop, and there was a a really beautiful magnetic Advent calendar. Pull it out, and there's a magnet of a figure, and you're making the manger scene and everything. My kids were little at the time. I think my oldest might have been around 7. So I was getting ready to buy it, and he bought it for me, as a Christmas gift. And that gets hung up on my wall every year. And my oldest is now 24, 22, 19, and 15. They're all home. They all have a system for remembering who goes first, who's the first one.
For real?
Yeah,
They still do
they
this?
still do it. They put a little note in there, who goes first next year. They take this very seriously. They take this very, very seriously. The only thing that they don't take seriously is the placing of the figures on the scene, because I'll have cows on top of the manger. Yeah, they think they're funny doing that stuff. But
I think it's hilarious. So
it is.
Yeah.
But they are very serious about the whole thing works, who goes first, and making sure that it rotates every year. Every 4 years, somebody gets to put the baby Jesus in the manger. So they're very serious about that. Yeah. They've got a whole system worked out. So again, that's just a little tradition. And then one of the other things that we do on Christmas Day is we don't put the Jesus in the manger. But we do that Christmas morning before anybody opens anything, before anybody eats anything. We all gather around. We all sing happy birthday. We put Jesus in the manger. Thank God for that gift before we get into any other type of gift giving for the day.
Jesus goes in the manger when I put it out, because one year I forgot to put him out entirely. So now if I'm laying this whole thing out, I put Jesus there too, because I will most certainly forget. And it must have been my son, but he was like, "Where's Jesus?" And I forgot which picture frame I hid him behind so that he would just be kind of easily accessible to the manger. And I thought, okay, well, he goes in at setup from now on until I can remember.
You just
to
could have
do
said
this.
he rolled out of the crib and rolled right behind his picture.
Yeah, it may have been Candlemas, but sure, yes.
And then one of the last things that we do, and again, this is a Christmas Day thing. This is a German tradition too. We hide a pickle ornament in the Christmas tree.
Yeah.
And then whoever finds the ornament gets to put the angel on top of the tree on Christmas morning. And,
you don't do that till Christmas morning?
Yeah, that's a Christmas morning thing. And that is a battle royale. I mean, it was one thing when my kids were little, but my boys are 6 foot and bigger, and my girls are in their 20s. And it's like they're all crushing against the tree Christmas morning to be the one who finds the pickle.
Really?
Oh, yeah, I'm telling you, it is. I just sit back. We just take videos of it every year.
Cool.
They're all into it. They got to find that pickle because they want to be the one who puts the thing on there. And I do.
Now, how hidden is this pickle? Do you put it like in the tree? It's like.
I'm just going to tell you, I'm the one hiding it. So
but the pickle's on the tree.
The pickle's in the tree.
In the tree. Do you have a real tree?
No.
I mean, there's only so many spots it could be. How hard is it to find this pickle?
You have not seen me hide.
What do you have a 9-foot tree or something?
No.
Okay.
That's good.
All right.
I mean, yeah. I mean, sometimes it's taken them 5-7 minutes going through that tree trying to find this pickle. Yeah. One of these days, I'm not going to put it in there and then just have them go all day and then hang it somewhere like later in the day after we go out and they'll come home and like, oh my gosh, I just found a pickle. How did we not see it?
That's like somebody who has an Easter egg hunt and you're like, oh, I forgot to put the eggs out.
Right. Keep looking, kids. Yeah.
These are good things for me to take inventory of, because I would love our kids to do that when they're older.
And they will.
To embrace this stuff so much that
they're little now.
Not over it.
They're little.
The
You're
time
conditioning them now. And by the time they get into be their teens and their 20s, and when they're still home in their 20s, all this stuff is going to be important to them because it's been so much a part of their life when it comes to the holidays.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. Like, we got to make X amount of cookies. We got to make these cookies and that cookies, or this dish and that dish. It's these traditions that are important.
Yeah.
And so we have all those secular traditions. Let's make sure that we have some traditions that really help us
I'm
meld into our faith.
Again,
it's all
I'm
good
okay
stuff.
with the secular traditions because the root of it is Christian.
I don't think either one of us is saying that that's bad.
No.
Well, we're just talking about that can't be it. We want to bring our focus back to, like they say, cliche, but keep Christ in Christmas. Let's not forget who it is that all of this is about. The cookies, the lights, the trees, the gift giving. Yeah. It's all about him. And if we lose sight of that, then we do ourselves a huge disservice. Anything else?
No, I think that's about it. Right. I just hope that we offered something today that you can incorporate into your own home, into your own life, whether you have kids, whether you're empty nesters, whether you're single and you're celebrating with the family of the church.
Yeah, there's plenty of stuff there. Because Advent is not just for children, and neither is Christmas.
We'll see you next time.
All right, God bless.